Meantime, New South Wales is offering to help speed up the nation's vaccine program after a war of words erupted with the states over the slow pace of the rollout. Live to our political reporter Trudy McIntosh. Trudy, Australia has missed another major milestone on this front.
Ash, you'll recall that at the start of the year, the Prime Minister made clear that the cautious goal of the government was to have 4 million vaccinations done by the 1st of April. We've reached that date, and so far that number sits at 670,000. There's been a pretty drastic escalation in the last few days, a war of words between state leaders and Morrison government ministers about exactly what's going wrong. Many of the states feel like they're being blamed for the delay when they believe it's actually some of the logistical issues from the Commonwealth level that's actually preventing this rollout from being at the speed it needs to be. If you just look at where the Commonwealth is at in terms of the responsibility for aged care residents, so far only 50% of aged care residents across Australia have actually been vaccinated. That's despite the fact that they're in phase 1A, the top priority for the nation. Here was the Health Minister, Greg Hunt, this morning, certainly wanting to appear very positive about all of this, despite the fact that they've missed the milestone.
Look, we continue to work constructively with all of the states. We're seeing a rapid acceleration. Frankly, the state's doing a very good job. There's not an issue from our end, so we're in a very, very strong position, which is still an extraordinary outcome. And we're continuing to ramp up with record doses. A record day yesterday.
The New South Wales Premier for the second day extending this offer to the Prime Minister that she wants her state's health officials to be able to help out here. And she wrote to the Prime Minister yesterday extending this offer formally, still saying she hasn't been given the green light to actually help administer these doses. Particularly, she says that's going to be critical if the government is going to meet its October deadline. That is for everyone who wants a vaccination to have had at least the first dose.
You still will need our support to meet the October deadline, so you can't do it on your own, and that's why I'm suggesting that once we've completed the 300,000 we've been asked to do, that we will have the capacity to do tens of thousands extra every week to support what the Commonwealth is doing. Otherwise, we won't get to the October deadline. And can I make it very clear, the New South Wales Government does not and has not received permission to do that.
So, Trudy, the federal government under increasing pressure from the states, and that's something that Labor federally is seizing on as well.
Anthony Albanese, Ash, keen to capitalise on this, believing that the government has been bungling the vaccine rollout as it stands, pointing to these targets which they set themselves and haven't now been able to meet. But Anthony Albanese also today calling for greater transparency. He wants to see more granular data when it comes to how the vaccine rollout is tracking day to day, so everyone can be on the same page about where things are falling behind.
It was Scott Morrison who said that he wasn't going to make promises that couldn't be kept. But it's Scott Morrison who's always big on promises, always big on announcements, and never there for the follow-up and the delivery. So Scott Morrison has to accept the responsibility for the failings that are there in the system and for the consequences of those failings.
The federal government insists the vaccine rollout speed is picking up every day, and they have a new target now. They want to see that 1 million vaccination across the nation reached by next week. Ash, that could be complicated though somewhat by the fact that we're about to head into the Easter long weekend.
You think so? Trudy McIntosh live in Canberra. Thank you.